A big drug bust hits a small town.
This is a substantial drug bust.
While law enforcement says charges for those involved will be upgraded. Growing concern over the future of a decades-old hospital. The question the NAACP say they want answered before next week's vote. And 24 hours after Governor DeSantis' executive order was denied, the Senate passes a nearly identical bill of their own.
Going to be investigated and scrutinized and punished.
The details behind a proposal to let the state label groups as domestic terrorist organizations.
This is your Fox 49 News at 10.
Good evening. This post from the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office shows the SWAT team executing a narcotics warrant early this morning. It all happened at the Royal Inn Motel on U.S. Highway 129 and Hamilton Avenue. All that smoke that you see, that's the Sheriff's Office using an explosive device to get inside the room. Once inside, deputies found these two, Chester Chairs and Lauren Woodruff, both now facing drug charges. That's because deputies found several ounces of drugs like cocaine and fentanyl, along with more than $2,300. There was another big drug bust, this one in Cairo, where investigators say the streets are much safer tonight. 5 separate agencies joined forces in an undercover investigation, seizing pot, pills, and guns in a raid this week. Police say those arrested operated in the shadow of a middle school. Fox 49's James Hill joining us now. And James, the investigators working this case integrated themselves into the city of 10,000 people.
Yes, they did, Melanie, and the results are very impressive.
Cocaine, marijuana, ecstasy, oxycodone, and guns now in the evidence room. The undercover operation had investigators working the streets of Cairo for the past month.
Drugs are what people call a victimless crime, and directly they are, but so much of our crime, the root cause of that is drug abuse and drug addiction. And so we like to see our streets cleaned up so that we can hopefully prevent some of the other crimes that do occasionally occur within our communities.
The raid on 2 properties led to the arrests of 5 people. Investigators tell me charges will be upgraded because the alleged drug dealers lived and operated out of homes located within 1,000 feet of Washington Middle School and a nearby housing project.
This is a substantial drug bust. You know, we're a small town. It's large for us, for sure. You know, you can go an hour away from us and find something much bigger, but for the city of Cairo, it is a large drug bust.
The undercover investigation was led by the Cairo Police Department, assisted by 4 other agencies: the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Grady and Thomas County Sheriff's Offices, and the Bainbridge Public Safety.
Now, the Cairo Police Chief, Mr. Giovanni Santos, says the confiscated drugs are worth a street value of $15,000. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm James Hill with your Fox 49 News.
Calls for transparency and scrutiny surround plans for the future of Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare. Today, community leaders shared their concerns, even issuing a warning that the next step could bring legal action. Fox 49's Jayla Howard shows us what's at stake and why those in the community want to know more about this transaction.
Next week, the Tallahassee City Commission is set to vote on transferring Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare to FSU. Today, the NAACP of Tallahassee called on the city to slow down and provide more details before the vote.
To be clear, we're not here to stop progress. We are not here to divide the community, and we're not here to relitigate the past. What we are trying to do here is to protect a public asset that has been woven into the identity of Tallahassee for generations.
The NAACP of Tallahassee making it very clear progress is not the issue. Members want the city to address several questions about the proposed transfer. They point to a lack of specific plans for the new medical specialties, investments, and timelines, and they say those answers should come before any final decision.
We want transparency before April 1st and not after. And we want written terms to match public promises. And we want the entire community, whether you're black, white, wealthy, working class, insured, uninsured, underinsured, to understand exactly what is being exchanged. If this transfer is strong, transparent, and beneficial, then clarity will only strengthen it.
They also question why the decision is being made now, saying a generational change should not be rushed, especially without key agreements finalized. Former Tallahassee Mayor Jack McLean says if those questions don't get answered, legal action could come next.
I don't know whether we're going to sue or not, but this group around us will not stand to lose out on health care that's needed by the poor and by those who just can't afford it.
McLean says there's also concern over whether the city fully evaluated the value of the hospital before deciding to give it up. Meanwhile, community leaders say their questions need to be a part of the discussion.
First off, I think we need to slow this process way down. There's a lot of concern from the public right now, and now they're proposing moving forward with a sale to Florida State University without even knowing what the finished product and the agreement between TMH and FSU is going to look like.
Community leaders say they will continue pushing for more transparency before a final decision is made. In Tallahassee, Jayla Howard, your Fox 49 News.
If approved, the transfer of assets would begin April 1st. An arrest tonight, more than 2 months after an attempted murder in Tallahassee. Damian Johnson is in the Leon County Jail on charges of attempted second-degree murder. Investigators were called to the intersection of Ocala Road and West Tennessee Street early in the morning of Christmas Eve 2025. The Tallahassee Police Department says a man had been shot multiple times. They determined the shooting happened in the parking lot of the Aspen Run apartment complex, not far from that area. Detectives spent several months gathering evidence before arresting Johnson. The Florida Senate moving forward with a bill that would create a new state process to designate domestic terrorist organizations. It comes after a federal judge barred Governor DeSantis from taking action on his own. Fox 49's Nick Carmia reports the proposal comes as the state is already facing legal pushback over a similar move by the governor.
Just a day after a federal judge shot down the governor's terror designation order, the Florida Senate passed a bill that would allow the state to label groups domestic terrorist organizations with real consequences for college students.
Going to be investigated and scrutinized and punished.
Omar Saleh of CARE claims the governor unfairly singled out his group as a terrorist group. A federal judge agreed and struck down the order, but now Florida Senate bill says U.S.-based groups can earn a terrorist designation if it engages in terrorist activity and poses an ongoing threat. After that, it becomes a felony to knowingly provide material support to that group. Some lawmakers warn the bill does not even require a criminal conviction before a group is designated. The lawmaker spearheading the proposal says her bill addresses such due process rights.
It is a more appropriate way to make these designations, and I believe that it will be done right, and if it's not, the accountability mechanism is our court system.
And there's more. Grawl also sponsors a separate bill to make certain records related to these designations exempt from public disclosure. On college campuses, the impact could be immediate. If a student promotes a designated group, the bill forces colleges to expel them. In the meantime, Saleh says this bill could lead to arbitrary designations.
It will immediately spell chaos when there's one or a handful of people with the power to just point their finger and designate specific groups.
Now, once a group is designated a domestic terrorist organization, it would remain on the state's list unless state officials vote to remove it, with a review required at least every 5 years. In Tallahassee, Nick Carmia, your Fox 49 News.
Critics say this could face the same kind of court challenges we're already seeing at the federal level. One North Florida school district plans to close 4 schools and consolidate all their students and teachers into one new campus. The Gadsden County School District is moving forward with plans for its new K-8 campus, and they want to know what parents think. Fox 49's Courtney DeWallaby shows us the plan and its impact on teachers and students.
District leaders say the project will replace aging buildings and create a modern learning environment for students. The new school will replace Gadsden Elementary Magnet, George Monroe Elementary, Stewart Street Elementary, and James A. Shanks Middle School, putting all their students and teachers on one campus. The nearly $82 million project is funded through the state's Special Facilities Construction Program, which helps rural districts replace aging school facilities. Renderings released by the district show plans for modern classrooms, updated learning spaces, and new areas for students to collaborate.
What sparked the idea for the K-8 school is actually getting our kids out of the aging buildings that they haven't been in for quite a while. All the school buildings are currently owned by the Gaston County School District. So there are some that's going to be repurposed. There's others that will be raised, or in other words, torn down.
I spoke with more than a dozen parents today. They didn't want to speak with me on the record, but several told me they're hopeful the new campus will provide better resources for students. But the district wants to hear from taxpayers and those involved in the schools. The district put up this survey online for people close to the schools to have a voice in the plan. Superintendent Key says you might expect some job losses when you're consolidating 4 schools, but he's working to avoid that.
The only issue we have to solve when it comes to staff is really going to be principals, because you're consolidating 4 schools and you have 4 principals that you have to deal with. So that's an issue that we've already started working on to ensure that there's no job loss in Gaston County.
For now, construction will continue as it is projected to open in the 2027-2028 school year. I'm Courtney DeWallaby, your Fox 49 News.
This brand new campus is expected to serve more than 1,600 kids K-8. As we prepare to spring forward this weekend, one Florida senator is once again fighting to stop the clocks. Senator Rick Scott is renewing his effort to pass the Sunshine Protection Act, making daylight saving time permanent nationwide. While Governor DeSantis has signed a bill allowing the state to stay on daylight saving time year-round, the federal government has to sign off.
All of us have heard from our constituents on this. The American people are sick and tired of changing their clocks twice a year.
2 states, Arizona and Hawaii, do not change their clocks twice a year. That's because they stay on standard time year-round, which is currently allowed under federal law. Cyber threats are all around us. Spotlight on America takes you behind the scenes with a specialized unit working around the clock to stop them.
Warm, humid, and sometimes foggy weather continues overnight with not much of a chance for rain. But we do have some better rain chances ahead. We'll find out when.
You're watching your Fox 49 News at 10 with Melanie Levy and meteorologist Alan Straub.
Cyber attacks pose a serious threat to companies, government agencies, and Americans' personal and financial data, and that threat does not sleep. At Microsoft, there is a specialized unit fighting to contain them on an hourly basis. They gave Spotlight on America correspondent Chris Daniels an exclusive look inside Microsoft's digital crimes unit to show just what we're up against.
Some of our threat intelligence analysts were some of the first observers of the first shots fired in the Ukraine-Russia invasion.
Redmond, Washington is thousands of miles away from a war zone.
Those shots weren't bullets, they weren't cannon fire, they were in fact cyber attacks originating from Russia.
Inside the digital crimes unit, a team of people are waging a global fight in real time to help protect American interests.
It's a battle on multiple fronts.
It's a battle on multiple fronts. It's what we call the Big Four: Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. These are devices that were infected by malware, malicious code, by financially motivated and nation-state actors. If we go up to the Pacific Northwest...
That's Stephen Masada, the Assistant General Counsel for Microsoft's DCU, talking about the efforts to neutralize cyber attacks throughout the country.
In the last 7 days...
Microsoft says it is blocking 4.5 million malware attempts a day, with critical public services as the prime target. Luma Stealer, the most prevalent, as a malware service that steals sensitive data from browsers and crypto wallets. The DCU says, working with the U.S. Department of Justice, Europol, and Japan's Cybercrime Control Center, it cut 2,300 domains in the past year to limit the malicious exposure.
When hospitals get hit by ransomware, it becomes a major issue.
Errol Weiss is the Chief Security Officer for the Health Information Sharing and Analysis Center.
I think that's because when we started to digitize medical records in the mid-1990s and HIPAA regulations started to become a thing, I really think the focus on the organizations at that point was on compliance with those regulations and not necessarily securing those medical records.
He's tracked cyber gangs or hacktivists, including an Iranian group that targeted 9 Israeli hospitals and clinics last summer. Weiss says a new 2026 ISAC report shows similar incidents on the rise. 5.4 million people had their personal data exposed after a ransomware attack on a United Health subsidiary just last year. And there have been dozens of other cybercrime victims at the hands of foreign-based hackers.
The sad reality is that criminals, and in particular cyber criminals, are some of the most innovative people on planet Earth.
And that is why Masada and his colleagues,
employees are reporting that workstations are slowing down,
continue to drill on the basics, like how to respond to an active incident.
Don't you need to call somebody or get a hold of somebody? Right? Oh gosh, the clock is ticking. Should I go with 2? You've got a good poker face. Okay, good. So I kind of saved the day.
Well, it's only you too, so one versus the world is hard. You can see how stressful the situation is if you don't have a plan in place.
That's why behind closed doors, away from the front lines, the DCU will be watching. I'm Chris Daniels for Spotlight on America.
Just this month, Microsoft announced a massive cybercrime operation was shut down. About 96,000 people are believed to have had their accounts targeted or compromised by this operation. The group also sent tens of millions of scam emails to trick people.
First warning weather. Here is Chief Meteorologist Alan Strum.
Check out the extremes today. The high temp running more than 10 degrees above normal. We continue to run quite warm around here, and that will be the case as we head through the weekend and into next week as well. 60s out there now as we check it. All dry, although damp, and we're likely to see again some of that fog thicken up here as we head through the overnight hours. We've already seen some patches around the area, so look out for that tomorrow morning. So a damp morning, maybe a little bit of rain. Most of it is really elsewhere. You can see up into Georgia where we've got some, and then there's some strong thunderstorms back into Oklahoma. In fact, they've got some severe weather alerts. Those yellow zones are tornado watches. The individual red polygons are tornado warnings. That's where they're looking out for some nasty weather there. But around here, we're looking at morning fog, some morning cloud cover, then likely some sunshine as we get into tomorrow afternoon. At least a little bit of that, but you can see scattered around the region a chance for rain. And I think even around here, we might see a little passing shower. I'd just be ready for it just in case that does happen. And as for for Saturday. Again, morning fog, morning cloud cover, but then we should get some sunshine as we head toward the midday and afternoon hours on Saturday. Overall, the weekend not looking too bad, certainly warm and humid. So through the overnight hours, we're going to see these low temperatures just kind of holding in the 60s all night long. And then during the day tomorrow, again, quite warm with those highs getting up to and even a little bit above 80 degrees. So some afternoon sun, but definitely some cloud cover at times. Look for that. Little bit of a chance for rain. Likely dry this weekend. Ahead to next week. All right, here's when we've got a better chance for rain. That's the middle of the week. We'll watch for that on Wednesday, and I think actually that's going to be most likely, at least at this point, it looks like that's most likely Wednesday night.
The Werner Hyundai Tallahassee 500 is back and bigger than ever. Rebates up to $15,000. Rates as low as 0%. No payments for up to 6 months. Werner Hyundai is the #1 volume Hyundai dealer in Tallahassee year after year. Drive the brand new Hyundai Elantra for $219 a month or Tucson for $289 a month. Nobody beats a Werner Hyundai deal. Nobody. It's the Werner Hyundai Tallahassee 500. Come visit us at wernerhyundai.com.
Your neighborhood, your voice, your story. If something is happening, good or bad, we want to know about it. Call our news tip line at 850-893-0202 or email your news tips to news@fox49.com. More than 3 decades of serving Leon County, we introduce you to the firefighter hero who received a major honor. The 2026 Florida Volunteer Firefighter of the Year is from right here in Leon County. Volunteer Fire Chief and firefighter Carl Hook received the honor from the Florida State Fire Marshal's Office. Hook has dedicated more than 30 years to firefighting. Congratulations, and thank you so much for your service. The new head football coach for Wakulla High School is wasting no time getting to work. Hours after last night's announcement, the high school shared these photos showing Derek Allen Jr. meeting his new team. During the visit, Allen set the tone for the program, telling the players about accountability, hard work, and pride in representing Wakulla. We'll be right back. Stick with us.
All right, look out for potentially a foggy morning and maybe a little bit of rain, but it's a low chance.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please come back and join us tomorrow night on Fox 49 News at 10.